mencari timba si anak dara di bawah sarang burung tempur. Salam sembah pembuka bicara, selamat datang untuk semua. Greetings and warm welcome to this inaugural Transformasi Nasional 2050 or TN50 Dialogue with Malaysians Abroad. My name is Muhammad Firdaus from the High Commission of Malaysia in London, and I'll be your MC for this evening. We are indeed honoured to have the Honourable Minister of Foreign Affairs with us this evening for this important dialogue that will help shape the future of our beloved Malaysia. Now, without further ado, I wish to invite His Excellency Dato Sri Hj, the High Commissioner of Malaysia to the United Kingdom and Northern Ireland, to make some brief preliminary remarks in his capacity as moderator of the dialogue session. Your Excellency, the floor is yours.
Well, thank you very much, Firdaus. Also nicknamed Kak Shasha. So I don't know why, but probably because he's so helpful. Anyway, I told him not to have pantun. He put me in a very difficult position as a moderator. But anyway, I cannot jawab lah dia punya pantun kan. Anyway, Yang Berhormat Dato Sri Anifah Aman dan Dato Sri, Yang Berbahagia Dato, distinguished guests, fellow Malaysians, ladies and gentlemen, Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and a very good evening and salam satu Malaysia. Well, he has mentioned his name as Firdaus. My name is Ahmad Rashidi Hazizi. Probably some of you are quite familiar with me. I've been around. So I'm your moderator this evening in this evening session. Please bear with me for at least 1 hour. I know it's rather hot weather, but you have been getting cold all the year round. So we are going to open up discussion on a very important topic or issue which are playing around in the mind of most of you, if not all of you Malaysians. That is TN50, the Transformasi Nasional 2050. Maybe some of you probably are quite familiar with the TN50, but most probably many of you may still be trying to figure out what are we in for. We are very fortunate today. With us today, our beloved Foreign Minister. Saya beloved, actually of course beloved. Bukan nak bodek lah. Wabi Dato Sri Anifah Aman, who happens to be on transit here in some official engagement. And we have 1 hour with Wabi to talk and engage with us on the topic of TN50. And I believe this is the first engagement, actually. This is the first engagement by foreign ministers or ministers with Malaysian diaspora abroad. And we are grateful to have the honour. London had the honor, the first honor for this session. Tepuk sikit. Anyway, thank you, Dato Sri, for taking your precious time to be with us. I'm sure all of you know our Foreign Minister. I wouldn't want to give a long CV, the impressive CV, but just briefly, now Dato Sri, if I may, Dato Sri has been with the Foreign Ministry for the past 8 years. We Malaysians, of course, most of you, and also we, the ministry, especially are very proud of his achievement, taking the lead in putting Malaysia in the world map. He is strong and solid, good looking. I was told that some people come here not for TN50, but they want to come meet the Foreign Minister. So a lot of my idols here. Before as a Foreign Minister, or a few others, the Deputy Minister, a few other ministry. But for joining the politics, is just like most of you guys, successful businessman in the corporate world. I'm not sure whether there's really regret joining the politics. Anyway. Now we are back to where we started. We have an hour session, right? A 1 hour session. I'm inviting, of course, Sri to introduce the subject. Let's open up for the discussion on views from the audience. You all Malaysians, beloved Malaysians, to come up with your suggestions and why not. Mind you, that this is supposed to be a santai session, santai. So that's why we have this tall table. I feel like I'm in the world of giant. Anyway, so this is santai session, good enough for giving a santai views, so that everybody is brave enough to come up with some of your suggestions. I hope that these sessions, you guys have come up with your aspirations and ideas to chart Malaysian future towards the year 2050. These aspirations has been put forward for several focus areas, which I'm sure that Dato Sri will elaborate a little more. We are here just like in Malaysia, where YEPM, as you're aware, have taken the lead and initiative in many sessions. Even we have a slapping session also, as probably most of you are aware. We need to do this in the early process of consultations and planning to ensure that the nation is preparing for the future beyond 2020. I'm sure you guys have a lot of things to ask, giving your opinions on what's happening to our beloved country, Malaysia. A number of issues are playing around, but please focus on the subject in hand. There is a TN50. So, thank you, sir. Thank you, everybody, for coming. I know this is a Friday night. So, without much delay, I now invite the street floor. The street, you have the floor. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much, MC, and thank you very much, Commissioner. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh, and very good afternoon. And it's nice to see some old faces, but still remaining young. And I don't know, the High Commissioner has only been very, very kind, and I thought that if he's not a diplomat, he could be, a comedian or something. But this is today slightly different. I just want to inform you, this is slightly different. I'm here to listen, and I'm here to listen from all of you. And every time you complain because we politicians only talk, you don't give you the chance to speak. But today you talk, I just listen. So it is, before it used to be one-way traffic from our end to your end, now it is the other way around. So, yes, I was entrusted by the government as a Minister of Foreign Affairs to engage with diaspora, Malaysian diasporas everywhere. And this, as Excellency was saying, this is the first country that I have this. So therefore, of course, London crowds has always been a favorite of mine. And this is why, as I said, saying the same similar faces gives me a lot of comfort. Now, I think, first of all, maybe some of you, of course, you know very, very well what TN50 is about. But for those who are not really being updated, let me just tell what is TN50. And at its heart, TN50 actually is the National Development Initiative for the next 30 years from 2021 to 2050. I'm not very sure how many will still be there, but I can see some faces. Maybe now it is more relevant to you. And I'm not saying that the older generations you're not supposed to speak because you're not concerned whether you'll be there or not. But well, I think this is mainly for the emphasis on the youth because they're the leaders of tomorrow. And but they're saying the leaders of tomorrow, I don't really agree when you're talking about the youth. They are the leaders today. They have a lot of influence shaping up national policy. And so this is why the ultimate thing of TN50 aim is to establish the enabling condition for Malaysia to become top 20 country in the world by the year 2050. I see some doubting faces that we could be at 20 best countries in the world. Why not? And this is a challenge, especially to all of us. Now, as you know, TN50 is not new, and we have consistently been guided by the medium and long term and long range development plans. And in fact, we have what we call it the 11 Malaysian plan. We are now in the second year of 11 Malaysian plan in terms of longer range plans, and we have in the past guided by, of course, all of you are very familiar with the National Economic Policy NEP from 1971 to 1990, and of course Vision 2020 from 1991 to 2020, and now TN50. So this is not new or completely new. And why, we ask ourselves, why is it necessary to have this TN50? And this is just to ensure the continued national resilience and in all aspects. And this is why the government has taken a raft of measures to ensure, among others, that Malaysia's continuing economic competitiveness and effectiveness, and to investors through various programs and initiatives such as the ETP, Economic Transformation Program, and GTP, the Government Transformation Program. And to date, these measures have somewhat borne some fruit, and Malaysia continues to place itself in international competitiveness ranking, and healthcare system has been in fact rated one of the best in the world. You may not believe it, but it is in fact a fact. And most recently, Malaysia was upgraded from Tier 2 watch list to Tier 2 with the US Department Annual Trafficking Person report. Now, it was quite serious when, because Malaysia has been used as a transiting country for this trafficking in person. Now, we also have to ensure that we are prepared to address the impact of megatrends. Megatrends such as unprecedented scale and pace of urbanization and also industrialization, and also changing gender roles, increasing participation of women. That's quite a demand, and a couple of ambassadors who are here, always emphasize the gender equalities, and also the increasing participation of women in the workforce, and also the leadership positions. And of course, the scarcity of resources such as energy, land, water, and so that they increase the competitions and possible negative impact on this development. Also, the geopolitical shift of global economic power away from the advanced economies and towards Asia and other fast-growing emerging countries. Now, of course, most of you have families back home, and this is why we really want to engage with you. And this is, for the first time, I think, that's really, if I'm not mistaken, that this is first time bottoms up. We want to listen to you. We want to listen to your aspirations. We want to listen to your hopes, what you see. And also, I've been asking this question to all of you. The push and pull factors, what make them leave Malaysia and come to UK. Maybe there's some good points that maybe we can adopt and somewhat convince some of you to come home. But this is what we have in mind. And therefore, all this, through your experiences, and especially in countries like UK, and of course cities like London, what you like to see in Malaysia, what you hope for your children, your grandchildren, and what you think is wrong with Malaysia, not being critical but being constructive. So I don't want to take much of your time, so just briefly I give you what is TN50 is all about. What is even more important, that we hope that from this year that we are actually engaging both domestically and also abroad. So maybe I have to go to several countries just to get the informations and engagements with people like you, and of course for the government then to formulate. And YB Prime Minister expects to be launching this in September 2018. I'm not sure whether election before or after that. So that's basically that's what it's all about. I'm just giving you a brief interlude, brief introduction, what is TN50 is all about. And therefore, I will hand over to the moderator and ask questions, or more, not so much asking questions, but actually giving inputs. So today I'm going to be a very good listener, I can assure you that. And I'll try not to speak after this, but more importantly that we will record everything what you say. And High Commissioner and the officers, we've got the Excellency Ambassador Suda from our Wisma Putra all the way here. We have another Ambassador Fadil from Warsaw. So they are assisting me and they are watching me, because they said I've stayed far too long, 8 years in the Foreign Ministry. And but the Rashidi was saying that he's been here, all places. But rest assured, that he has done a fantastic job here, and I think you enjoy the company of this Excellency Ambassador, right? It's very informal. doesn't send any signal to me. So with that, I will pass you to the moderator once again. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Sri. As Dato Sri mentioned that we are here actually to really hear from you guys. We have a few very experienced one who says that he wants to sort of give some ideas or not. But what I can say that Dato Sri has touched just generally covering what is the TN50, why it's necessary, the approach bottom up, ensuring all Malaysians are engaged, and also nation preparedness to address the impact of mega trends. It's also most important, of course, I suppose, is the passing of the baton from Vision 2020, looking ahead and setting targets of what we want to achieve in preparing ourselves for the future. So the future lies on most of you and the young one especially. So let's listen some of the views. So can I get the first person to come and brave enough to come and give their opinions? Not say brave now, it's a Santai session, so everybody should please. Yeah. Anybody? I should have planned some questions with you guys, but I didn't have time. Maybe Zui is very talkative. Maybe he wants to say something. Where is Zui? Oh, you're there. Come, say something. You always like to make comments, so please give your views on this. Thank you. Were you there?
Good evening, Dato Sri. Selamat Hari Raya to you. My name is Zuhair. Malaysians living in London. But we heard a lot of talk about TN50. It's headed by Khairi Jamaluddin. But the question that it's not, well, it's a question to you as a foreign minister. We see the ASEAN community in Malaysia, I mean in Asia, and we see the European Union, which happened many years back, but somehow it's nowadays people see European Union crumbling. Brexit happens in UK, and we see many other countries taking care of their own countries rather than the community as a whole, as Europe. Do you see this kind of trend happening in Asia, maybe in 2050? Thank you very much. That's my question.
I think he was outside just now when he was saying that this is a dialogue whereby I listen. But nevertheless, I think he's slightly off. And the questions on ASEAN. Actually, of course, there are pros and cons. But it's like same thing with the European Union. But as an ASEAN group, we have about 630 million population, and so it's an impact. Because when we negotiate as a bloc, and especially our relationship with China. But of course, Asian, based on the Asian Charter, ASEAN Charter, is when we make decisions, it has to be by consensus. So when you're talking about consensus, you have to get everybody, all the 10 member states must agree. And therefore, we do now, lately, we do face some problems to get, when we had a meeting, ASEAN meeting, we have the statements, and whereby there are one or two countries that disagree, and therefore, because of the consensus system, that we are unable to issue certain statements. For example, this PCA Permanent Court of Arbitration's findings on South China Sea. So, of course, the claimant states like Malaysia, Vietnam, Brunei, and what's the other one? Malaysia, Brunei, Philippines. We are very much in favor of that kind of statement, but the other ASEAN members, 2 or 3 of them, must feel that it is not necessary, because not to jeopardize the relationship with China. So if you ask me what's going to be like in 2050, I think it is very, very important that ASEAN should stay as a bloc. So, and I think, as I said, in terms of bargaining power, in terms of competitiveness, because we have discussed, like, if any country, for example, that has an advantage over the other, then we should assist one another. This is one in the economic community. But I think it is essential that ASEAN must remain talking about ASEAN centrality and also ASEAN unity. And therefore, I think ASEAN is going to be and will be relevant even in 2050. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. I know it's just a bit out, but for the first question, I suppose we give a chance. But so now probably we should focus on T50. Maybe we have all this some young guys here. Probably, yeah. Say and again.
The back.
Oh, the back. Oh, sorry. Come in. Thank you.
Sorry, Nabil from Brunei University. Actually, my not really question, just also about ASEAN. There's still a little awareness of Malaysia's role in ASEAN and what can be achieved together among ASEAN members. Although Malaysia is one of the founding members. So towards 2050, is there any plan by the government to improve Malaysia's awareness of the importance of ASEAN, especially in joining ASEAN Cultural Community Initiative?
Dato Sri already mentioned it, that's not. But anyway, we can't really avoid that because the foreign ministers, people just seems to want to ask on foreign policies or whatnot. I don't know whether Dato Sri you want to answer again or just he has answered that we need to be.
Okay, I'll just give a brief. Maybe Sudha wants to add in ASEAN, but we realized that actually Malaysia is one of those 10 member states that the awareness of ASEAN is very somewhat disappointing, and I think we have done a lot of efforts trying to reach out, and we have what for the outreach programs, and to create more awareness. And we sometimes give talks to universities, to schools, and even to public what ASEAN means to us, what ASEAN is to all of us, and it will be a continuous effort. But I think the other reason is because Malaysians are less interested about ASEAN and our relationship, bilateral relationship with other ASEAN countries. We are more concerned, within ASEAN. I think from what we have gathered, the Malaysians are only interested in our bilateral relations with Indonesia and Singapore primarily. But you're not really interested in Vietnam, not so much interested in Philippines, except me as Sabahan, because there's a claim by Philippines on Sabah. But apart from that, very, very few people actually in engagements such as this, very few people actually, ask questions in relations to our bilateral relations with other countries like Laos, Myanmar, Thailand, even Thailand. But the main focus has always been Singapore, Indonesia, of course, the reasons why. So I agree, and I think it is in the process we're engaging. We have this Suranta program, Suranta, engaging, as I said, with the students, university students and schools. So we will carry on doing that, and hopefully eventually they will raise a certain degree of awareness amongst our people. But again, like I want to emphasize, the first question was, I think, is very relevant. ASEAN is very relevant and very important to us. Just like China is important to us, ASEAN, but ASEAN is also important to China because we have a 640 million population. Okay? Thank you. I've gone back against my words. I was saying that I shouldn't be speaking. In fact, I shouldn't be speaking, I should be listening. But never mind. Please.
Assalamualaikum Dato Sri, I'm Salahuddin from Cardiff University. Sorry, I have another question for you. I just want to know, so far, what is Malaysia's stance on the current Gulf issue that we have, we can see among Saudi and Qataris, and also do we support Saudi's demand against the Qataris? Okay, and my aspiration for TN50 in relation to our event today, I aspire Malaysia to be the center of arbitration among world powers. So let's say when we have a crisis amongst, for example, the Qatar crisis, we can be the arbitrator amongst them instead of taking Kuwaiti, which is maybe biased between them. So we as a real foreign country can become the mediator between them. And that is my aspiration. My question also, do you see we as a capable nation to become the arbitrator of the world? Thank you very much.
I'm not that I don't handle testing. No, I don't handle microphone as well as Excellency does. I don't want to tell you the reasons why.
You have to off.
Yeah. Testing. Hello. Testing 1 2 1 2. Yeah. The questions. Saludin. Of course, this is one of the most current and very important happening, not only in the Middle East, not only in the region, but also in the Muslim world, Muslim Ummah, and also the world itself in general. And just to reveal to you what I can, is that we have been in constant touch with all the leaders of the GCC countries. And the Prime Minister has spoken to King of Saudi, and I have spoken to all the foreign ministers of the GCC countries. And in fact, I had a conversations last night with the Foreign Minister of Kuwait and also the Foreign Minister of Qatar, who happened to be in London yesterday. And because I attended the Chatham Place engagements. And it is quite serious in that sense. And this is where, related to your second questions about Malaysia's role, in arbitrating this kind of things. It's, in fact, we have done that because with Philippines, whereby the Bangsa Moro and also the Philippine government, and of course, ongoing now with Southern Thailand. And we have actually offered. And you asked what is our position. Our position is what I call, I just issued a statement a couple of days ago, is active neutrality. Active neutrality means we want to engage. And I have offered Malaysia to be a mediator among other countries like Indonesia and some that is not directly related to that. Now, while Kuwait is, I can say to you that Kuwait is an honest broker, and to the point whereby they also want to remain neutral, so that they can get things done. Now, again, with my conversations with the Foreign Minister of Kuwait last night, which he called me actually after the meetings, and he said next week, sometimes next week or week after, they'll be sitting down with US and British and to find solutions to the problem. But I agree with you. I thought Malaysia and Indonesia can play a role, being, Malaysia, of course, being, our relationship with those countries, and Indonesia being one of the biggest in terms of populations and Muslims. We thought that we would be in a better position to negotiate or to broker peace or understanding, whatever you call it. But nevertheless, we are still monitoring, we are still in touch, and we have, whenever there's a need for us to get involved, and we will. So that is our current position. Okay. Does that answer the question? Okay, thank you.
Well, thank you very much. Because we must do justice to Dato Suda come all here for TN50. So we know this foreign minister will have just a question actually, but try to a bit of our TN50, please. Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. I'm Mushrif from Manchester. Hi, Dato. So my question would be about Malaysia itself. My aspiration for TN50 would be, sorry, it's not my question, it's my aspiration. My aspiration would be, I wish for Malaysia to have a clear national identity, redefined national identity. Why I say this? Because I've lived in both East and West Malaysia. I've lived in Semenanjung, I've lived in Sabah, and I could see that it's very different living in these two places, although it's still Malaysia. For example, in Sabah, the people in Sabah and Sarawak, they are used to having, like, for example, Christian cousins, or because, like, say, they're the aunties, something like that. So Christmas is nothing for them. They can celebrate Christmas, they can celebrate Deepavali, even Muslims can celebrate all celebrations in Sabah without any obstacles. While in Semenanjung, lately, especially with social media, we could see people trying to give out hate comments when it comes to national celebrations or religious celebrations, especially when Muslims are involved in non-Muslim celebration and things like that. And that's why I say I want to see a clearer national identity, because we can be united when it comes to, for example, Lee Chong Wei's game or Malaysia in the AFF Suzuki Cup. But when it comes to real issues, we don't really seem integrated as much. Like, I can say this was different post-Merdeka period. I remember my mom having close to 0 Malay friends during her time, and she felt really Malaysian, and even the non-Malay friends felt Malaysian. But today, I can say I do have Chinese friends, but they're not as close as what my mom was before with her friends. And this is a problem, I guess. Not a problem, this is an issue, because I guess the youth are not getting much exposure towards what the other races are and what they need, what they want, how they think. So that's why I guess I want to see Malaysia with a clearer national identity, whether it's based on nationalistic values, whether it's on religious values, racial values, I do not know. But I do wish to see a clear national identity for Malaysians to always feel Malaysian, no matter how and no matter what happens in the country. I just want Malaysians to feel Malaysian. And I think this needs to start from school.
Thank you. There's quite a number of Sabahan here, for our families from Sabah. If you got a point, I think this is one of those that we are targeted for. You look at small slips there. This is the areas that probably they're looking at and they realize, I'm sure. But leave it to Sri, maybe he wants to comment on this one.
That is a very good question. That's very good questions. And you were saying you take half your things in Semenanjung and then half in Sabah.
Not half, but significant time.
Why were you in Sabah?
I was in Sabah because my dad was posted to work. My dad was working under TN50 Sabah.
Okay. How many years were you there?
I was only there for 3 years, I think.
You have learned a lot during the 3 years.
Yes.
You know, now this is very, very important actually. I'm not sure whether I want to answer you the question as a foreign minister or as a Sabahan, you know, because they're two slightly different. If I were to answer you as a foreign minister, I'll be very diplomatic. But if I want to answer you as a Sabahan, you want me to answer as a Sabahan?
Yes.
Are you sure you're not going to get offended? So I very clarify that, very qualify that. Because no, Sabah is all about one Malaysia. One Malaysia is actually Sabah, it's wrong. Now, my late mother was a convert. And we come from a very, very big family, dozen dusun. And mostly, whenever close relatives of ours pass away, we go to the church, sit down in church, and offer our own prayers. Now, whenever there's a wedding, we never fail to attend the wedding, because there's halal caterer, and which we don't have to actually ask our relatives, could you please make sure that the food is halal. They respect that. Now, you're right, because in Christmas, Hari Raya just passed, and it is hazardous to me as a member of parliament that in my constituencies they're all Kedazan, Dusun, Bisaya, Brunei, and we celebrate every festival. So Hari Raya, you can rest assured if you visit a house, then they are actually Christians, Chinese were there. And same token, Hari Raya, Christmas or Chinese New Year, there'll be Malays and there will be Muslims visiting those houses. And sometimes, and I can assure you, there's one incident some time ago in Sabah where the priest doctor married a Muslim, and the parents were there to witness the ceremony. And there's no problem whatsoever. But I'm not sure if it's in West Malaysia it can happen like that. In Sabah, I still go back and we sit on a table like this, I can order my coffee or my water, but they will order beer because the highest consumption of stout and beer are actually in Sabah. So they will order beer, and there's no qualms about it. You're not saying, hey, look, I'm an MP, I'm a minister, I'm a Muslim, you should respect me. But why should he respect me and I don't respect him? It is his rights to drink. So there's no questions about what you should drink, what you should eat in front of each other, but it's a mutual respect. So when you're talking about identity, it is our wish that people in Semenanjung will see that there's no difference. All we aspire to be, one Malaysia. And our three sons, actually my wife is here with me, our three sons actually went to Chinese school. And it is very, very actually pleasing, and it is to the point of being a pleasure to me and my wife. Because these boys, when they were in the kindergarten, they come to the house because they love rendang, they love curry. And until now they have their own children, they still come to the house. And my boys went to the house during Christmas or Chinese New Year, and they come to our house. And I think we are in Sabah, every year we actually engage this lion dance. And a lot of people were surprised, especially those from Semenanjung were saying, how come the foreign minister of Malaysia, who is Muslim, and actually having this lion dance in his house with all, I broke the law, I mustn't, with all those firecrackers. So, but to us Sabahans, it doesn't matter. So when you're talking about aspirations, that we like to see one Malaysia, regardless of any race or religion. And I'm one of those, as I said, not as a foreign minister, I quite disagree with our national identity card that reveals whether you're Islam or otherwise. And so Sabahans, we are a little bit different. We don't recognize you based on your color, based on your ethnicity, and based on your race or religion. Now, some of my best friends are Chinese, and of course I have close friends also Malays. But when come to the social issue, we do differ, even among cabinet members. They will not sit in a coffee shop, in Chinese coffee shop, and drink coffee. Because if you look at it now, it is only being, commercialized and popularized by having kopitiam. In fact, it's Chinese, being operated by Chinese, it's Chinese coffee. But we in Sabah, our favorite coffee from this Hainanese, Hailam. And you can see a lot of us sitting down in the coffee shop. So I concur with you. I concur with you, and I think that it's very, very good. One day you stand as a Malaysian, not as a Malay, not as a Muslim, but as a Malaysian. You respect, mutual respect with one another. You worship your own God, and you therefore should allow other people to worship their own religion. So that's what I want to see Malaysia, and that's what I want my grandchildren to feel, that race, religion, ethnicity is not an obstacle, but in fact, unity, diversity, that will create a better understanding and better relations. Thank you.
Good point, Sri. I think we are doing okay in London, Sri. We do strongly support all these events, Chinese New Year, or Deepavali and Hari Raya, so we get together.
So I will invite him to come to Sabah.
Yeah, I want to be Sabahan also. Anyway, thank you. Now I can't forward this.
Assalamualaikum, Dato Sri. My name is Amnani from Prima IPT, which is the wholly owned subsidiary of KWAP. Actually, I just want to give my view. When we talk about transformation, I think we have to go back to basic. Before we can transform, I think we need to change our attitude. And in order for us to change our attitude is through education. So when I talk about education here, it's not only just students, children, but it also involves teachers. My mother was a teacher, so from my observation, I think teachers in Malaysia are less equipped, especially in critical thinking. I think government needs to do something on this matter. I know it's challenging to actually educate all these people, especially when they are maybe above 40 years old. But I think something needs to be done in this area. Thank you.
I wish you were a teacher. But no, you're right. You're right, because I think my wife is involved in an organization called Be Friends, counseling. I think that there must be counseling, and I think the teachers must be properly trained. And I think we're very stereotyped over the years. We actually stick to our own curriculum and what teachers are supposed to be. And now I think teachers must enrich, what you call, not only in terms of education, but the way to handle the public at large. Now, if you see, now it worries me, if you see in the, WhatsApp or Instagram, the students, bullying. Now, I actually asked this in the cabinet, where actually the fault is. Whether the fault is with the parents or the fault is with the teachers, because I'm sure during our days, my days, when the principal walks in front of us, I actually look down, and when they asked us to stand up, I stood up on the table, was asked because being naughty. But when I went home, and I've been reprimanded by my father, they must not do that again. And he says, embarrassment is a shame for the teacher to ask you to stand. But nowadays, if you say something about our children, we'll engage a lawyer. So I think there's something that broadly what I'm saying is, I think we need to relook what are the roles of the teachers actually, and this is why, what is it, PIBG, this, parents and teachers association, I think is very, very important. I have officiated a lot of this, but all they ask is money from me. Why? Because they said they need to do programs or not. But I think you are absolutely right that our teachers should be properly trained and to get out of the box, so to speak, and learn the best. As you said, you cannot transform if you don't change. I'm not saying applicable to Malaysia, but we cannot have a third world mentality and having, aspire to be the top 20 countries in the world. So a lot has to change, and this is again why it is important we listen from you. We listen from you so that we can study that thoroughly, and then how to offer solutions or to suggest solutions that may be relevant by the year 2050. That's the answer to the question. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum Dato Sri, Sharina. My name is Sharina. I live in London. Been living here for the past 10 years. This morning I woke up and I looked at Twitter and I saw that YB Kari Jamaluddin had to talk about the issue of Bahasa Malaysia regarding medical officers who can speak fluently in Bahasa Malaysia and how it goes around, things like that. I feel a bit disappointed by this whole discussion to begin with, because we're in 2017 and while we're still questioning whether Bahasa Malaysia is Bahasa Melayu, why can't it be Bahasa Malaysia as a Bahasa Kebangsaan, where everyone is proud to be Malaysian and everyone is proud to speak Malay, Bahasa Malaysia, and at the same time it's alright to speak English, it's alright to speak Mandarin, Hokkien, Cantonese, Tamil, Urdu, or any other languages. I think my aspiration for TN50 is to be in a position where the children can go to school and they be proud to speak Bahasa Malaysia, they be confident to speak English fluently, and they be proud to be able to speak their mother tongues to make sure that, we are all trilingual. And I think going forward, our kids will be more sellable globally, isn't it? Because we can speak multiple languages. So that's my hope for the future.
I share your hope and aspirations. And I think your question is about Bahasa Malaysia and Bahasa Melayu.
It's not really a question, it's more of why is that a question to begin with? It should be Bahasa Malaysia. We should acknowledge it as Bahasa Malaysia.
You mean, no, okay. This I asked, yeah, the two different things. One, you know, you're saying why not Bahasa Malaysia instead of Bahasa Melayu, because there's an element of segregation.
Yeah.
But you're talking about this application,
Mhm.
you know, applications whereby I think now the government through the Ministry of Health and said, I was not there at the cabinet meeting anyway, and saying that you must have credits in Bahasa Malaysia to
Yeah.
be a doctor.
But I
Now,
think, sorry, sir,
Yeah.
but what disappointed me was the response from social media, how certain parties is, when I say certain parties, certain people from certain background, keep on saying, oh, ni bahasa Melayu, kau duduk Malaysia, kena cakap bahasa Melayu lah, kau kenalah pandai cakap bahasa Melayu. But I feel very disappointed by that kind of reaction, because being able to speak bahasa Malaysia, it should be something that you're proud of as a Malaysian. Not because you're Malay, not because you're...
it's a national language.
It's our national language and we should be proud of. And I think over the past 29 years of my life, and I've seen how in primary school, I was taught at least how, you know, you need to learn Bahasa Melayu. You need to be fluent in English. But throughout the years I go to high school, speaking English became a privilege. Speaking Malay became a patriotism for Malays. And because of that, I see friends, Chinese friends, Indian friends, they distance themselves away from speaking Malay fluently, apart from the fact that they pass SPM for it, because they feel that it's not their language. They're not inclusive, they're not included in it. I think that's why I think the whole mentality, going back to education, we need to change our mindset. We need to change our mindset. To change our mindset, it needs to start from the kids. We need to go back to the root, to school, primary school, kindergarten, and teach our kids. It's okay to speak English, it's okay to speak Bahasa Malaysia, it's okay to speak any language that you want, French, Spanish, you know, Arabic, whatever. But be proud of it. And it's your right to speak that language, or to speak that language.
But are you saying that, yes, there must be a national language that is Bahasa Malaysia? But then again, there's nothing wrong. In fact,
Yes.
it is a privilege. It is a plus factor to be able to speak other languages too.
Bahasa Malaysia should be our identity. I mean,
Yeah.
it is our national language.
Yes,
But
yes.
it's
I mean,
okay to speak other languages as well.
I think generally we have accepted that Bahasa Malaysia is our national language.
Yeah.
Okay? But in terms of this, what's happened the last few days, whereby you said you need to pass your credit.
Yeah.
My sons will, luckily they're not doctors. My sons will not be able to work because they don't go up to Form 5 SPM and Bahasa Malaysia, but they speak fluent Bahasa Malaysia.
Yeah.
And they can write, you know. But if you ask them for the certificate, they will not be able to produce it. You know, so that's one of the reasons why I think it is, something that to be looked into review.
Yeah.
Now the reason actually why that for doctors to be able to speak Bahasa Malaysia is because of the rural people. You know, in Sabah, the dozen dusun also speak Bahasa Malaysia.
Yeah.
You know, but imagine if one doctor, like for example, we have previous experiences which quite actually disturbing language problem. Doctors from Myanmar, they don't speak Bahasa, of course, and they speak little for English.
Yeah.
So while we need doctors, but communication-wise, it's difficult. Even the nurses, of course, they can speak Myanmarese. So this is why I think maybe we have gone personally, okay? We have gone a bit too far in saying that you must this to become a doctor. But what I'm saying is that maybe that in order to be doctors, you must also be able to speak Bahasa Malaysia.
Well, I have no issues with the regulations. It's up to the ministry or respective organization to set whatever rules that they want. I was more disappointed by the reaction by certain people on how they say, oh yeah, kau tak cakap Melayu, kenapa kau nak stay kat sini? Baliklah your own country. Things like that. Why in 2017 do we still have people with that mentality? That's the bit that I was disappointed.
Rightly so, yeah. I mean,
Yeah. So I'm hoping going forward we will move on from that.
you want to see Bahasa Malaysia spoken by Malaysians,
Yes.
and at the same time, we must respect one another. Yeah? Thank you.
Thank you.
Assalamualaikum. Saya Kamal Rifin dari Battersea Power Station. My aspiration, Dato Sri, is for Malaysian in 2050. Probably my children will be globally competitive, and I think to achieve that level, I echo my colleague from Prima Equity just now. Is for us to upgrade our education and make it a world-class education system. And of course, to have a world-class education system, it's not just we must have a good co-curriculum and also policy. We must also have a very consistent co-curriculum and also policy. And at the same time, we shouldn't over-politicize our education system. And at the same time, we need to give back to the teachers what they are supposed to do. They are supposed to teach, and they should be focused on teaching rather than doing other jobs. Based on my experience here, my daughter goes to international school here in UK. They have a different team for administration and doing admission and other things. Teachers focus on teaching, and they are very passionate with subjects that they teach. And at the same time, students here are more, I would say, they have a overall and more, I would say, rounded. They are not too focused on academics. My daughter learned Latin. My daughter got exposed to art and performing arts, design, and my daughter's school have 3D printer. Even my company, Sandabi Property, we don't have a 3D printer, being one of the biggest developers in Malaysia. But my daughter's school, they have 3D printer, and they learn graphic design and a lot of things. So there are skills that being taught for them to become very skillful, and also to have what I call living skills, and also they are the way that they teach here is for them to have good discussion rather than just listen to the teachers and then go to exam and something like that. And I think I've been involved in international business for quite some time. I think Malaysians are very, very capable. Unfortunately, Malaysians that got exposed are very limited. And you can see in the UK and other countries, Malaysians are exposed and given the opportunity to perform in a global business and global level. They can do it. Malaysians are very smart people actually. I'm very proud of that because, for example, we are doing a Battersea project here in UK after 3 previous owners cannot do it. But Malaysian, we can do it. We have already started to deliver the first phase of the project right now. So I think that's my aspiration, is for our education system to be enhanced to a world class. For that, I think there is a need to be more consistent with our education policy, rather than every time there's a leadership change, there's a change in policy. From teaching of English, mathematics and science in English, which I really support, suddenly become something else. And we are still fighting about it. There's still an association, parents association that's still fighting for it. I think, unfortunately, politics sometimes overtaken. I would say the things that supposed to be beneficial for the people of Malaysia. And I also wish that in the future there will be more enforcement and also improvement in terms of respecting the rule of law in Malaysia. Because attitude, we can have a first-class facilities and first-class infrastructure, but if our mentality and attitude still a world country's mentality, don't think even to be in top 20, even top 50 in the world, we are not going to be there. And you can see in Malaysia, this I think I still remember Tun Mahathir.
what he said is failure after more than 30 years as Prime Minister is to change the mentality of probably people of Malaysia in certain aspects. So this is, I think, one of the challenging, the soft part that we need to think how we need to improve this, because I think in terms of infrastructure, the government has invested a lot, physical infrastructure, but in terms of the soft, I would say, skills, and also the soft approach or the soft part of the community that we need to improve and think about it. And politics sometimes, I would say, is the culprit. My father is a politician. I'm from Banting Sana. My father is a politician, and I always debate with my father about certain things. You know, because I think the current politics situation in Malaysia sometimes become detrimental to the progress of the nation. We spend too much energy on politics or politicizing certain issues, rather than focusing and put our resources together to think about I would say for the progress of the nation. So probably politicians also have to change their attitude if we want to achieve.
Okay, thank you very much. I agree on you saying that Malaysians are smart people, but giving you a chance to put your views, I think. Thank you very much. Very long views.
Yeah, thank you very much.
So,
No, if I can just comment on that, I think both of you raise a very pertinent questions about education. I think education is the fundamental thing. As you said, if you want to change, if you want to achieve what you wish to achieve, if you don't improve your education system, then very little could be achieved. And of course, you're talking about mindset, mentality, and that is also very important. Now, I mean, I don't want to mention things that happens in the West, but is not happening in the East, especially in Malaysia. You know, in terms of even, for example, the cleanliness. You know, if you stop in the rest area along the highway, you know, sometimes I don't know where the cleaners are, but the toilet are not well maintained. You know, this is a simple thing as mentality, and the usage of the toilet itself, you know, by the people. Now, this is what I call mentality. That how can we become top 20 countries in the world when we are still with that kind of mentality? So there's also the need to relook into the system and how to best suit it to the current requirements. And also this, sometimes we have a blind pride, because we want to be something, but we do not want to move out from the box. This is again the mindset. And politicians, you're right. We spend a lot of things on unproductive things. You know? And but it's all your fault. It's your fault. You know, you don't choose the right one. And this is always by my qualm. Sometimes, as I said, sometimes I sit around, and I'm not saying I'm a better minister or anything. No, but as a Malaysian, not as a minister, not as a politician. And I wish there are better people around. You know? And that is true. That is true. Because, I mean, I'm talking especially in Sabah. We do respect my colleagues, and Dun, the one and agree. If you want to raise something that is pertinent, that is relevant to the needs of the people, but you need to speak up, they don't. You know why? Because they don't want to lose their position. Okay, that's the biggest problem for politicians like me. If we are afraid of losing our positions, and to the point of actually sealing our mouth, and everything that's been said, everything that's been seen around, you may not agree, but you do not disagree. Again, all this mindset, all this, as I said, it's impossible to achieve the TN50 if we have all this kind of mentality. So my question is, I mean, my view is, I'm not saying the opposition back that, please don't get that into your head. Okay? But it's still good. But I think the honest is choosing the right candidate with the vision of what Malaysia should be, not what he should be. And that is a fundamental difference. Now, as I said, we are talking about, this is why I'm quite happy when the Prime Minister trusted me to engage with the Malaysian diaspora, because it's very, very important. You look at it, you're making a comparison with the educations of your children. You're privileged. And you said, Malaysia boleh, I agree with you fully. We have been, I chaired the UNSC, United Nations Security Council, with the foreign minister the State Secretary of US, foreign minister of Russia, China. Hey, I don't feel any smaller. And I have asked one or two of these foreign ministers to sit down and listen. Malaysia boleh. And ASEAN, we've been acknowledged during our chairs ASEAN 2015. We've been acknowledged as the best in organizational efforts. So Malaysia, yes, we can. But the problem now, how to increase the numbers, right? So there's only few of us, but it's saying now, as I said, change what needs to be changed, transform what needs to be transformed, but transform it together. So it is not just the politicians, not just government, that each and every one of us is to change and to transform to actually achieve what we set to achieve. Because otherwise it's just another plan. It's another plan. And every time, as you said, we still confused whether to teach mathematics in things and science in English or Bahasa. To me, it's very simple. Until today, I was a science stream student before, but the science terminology, I don't understand what is it in Bahasa Malaysia. It's so complicated and so long. But why can't we can speak fluent Bahasa Malaysian? But why can't we have science and mathematics in English? I'm not sure whether you agree with me, but I think this is an international subject that I think needs to be done internationally. In the science, the books and the references and all this, all in English. And how many of us actually can translate from English to Bahasa? See, but every time, as you said before, not now, every time it's a new education minister, there's a, what they call it, new initiative, something like something's report or something, I don't know. It confused me. But yes, now this is why we need, as I said when I said earlier, we don't need very critical views, but we need constructive views. That's constructive. What I have heard so far is constructive. It's not being critical, but it is us for politicians to realize what you are saying, and this is why I said I want to listen, which is very, very important. Because with due respect, you've been here, as I said, the push and pull factors. Why are you actually coming to UK? For those people here, I think primarily because of education of your children, right? So what does it tell us? Tell us when you're talking about all these specialists in schools and making a student more rounded rather than just focus on education. My grandchildren now have to carry a knapsack full of books, and I don't know whether they're going to grow to up to 6 foot, maybe around 4 feet 11. The bag is very, very heavy to go to school. Okay, thank you.